Today, it is time to seek retribution. You see, I've been reading the comments in the comment section and it's been largely positive. However, we have a few haters in our midst. Timmy, unsheath your sword and prepare to meet your fate.
This is Ancient Workouts with me, Omar Isuf. In each episode, we examine the culture of one ancient group of warriors and try to apply aspects of their training, nutrition, and mentality into our own exercise routines. How do you stack up against these legendary warriors? Let's find out.
In today's episode, we look at medieval knights, gentlemen scholars from nobility that were heavily armored and well equipped. Who were they really? How did they train? And exactly how much did it stink wearing this thing all the time? Let's find out. I can tell you one thing, I'm standing right next to it. It definitely doesn't smell like roses. Knights represented the apex warrior of medieval Europe. Heavily armored and well-trained, knights were expected to serve their lord and fight when called upon. As such, knights were the main tools of conquest during this time. I say tools because knights were at the service always of their lords and kings. This could manifest itself in the Crusades, which were directed by the Latin Church and had religious overtones. Many of you probably know about the Crusades in the Holy Lands, but not about the many, many other Crusades. Here are a few you might not know about. One of the busiest regions of crusading was in fact the Baltic region, known as the Northern Crusades, where for centuries armies wearing Crusader crosses fought against pagans in modern Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, achieving many victories. In the south of France, there was a long crusade in the 13th century against heretics known as Cathars. It was called the Albigensian Crusade, aka Gnostic Christians who were knights also on that side, so essentially we had knight-on-knight violence. Indeed, there were many crusades against other heretics. So heretics could be anyone defined by the Latin Church as being heretical, even if they were Christian. And it becomes clear that crusades were really vehicles for conquest and the proliferation of power. This is the perfect time. I like to announce my own crusade against capri pants. You see, they're not shorts, they don't go all the way up, and they're not pants, they don't go all the way down. And their lack of decisiveness makes me uncomfortable. One of the unfortunate aspects of being a knight is that you are essentially bound to your lord. Don't feel like slaying some pagans? Too bad, buddy. You got no choice. Prefer warmer climates? Well, looks like you're going to Russia. It is easy to see why knights were the main tools of conquest. They were formidable opponents, well-equipped, and incredibly well-trained. What do I mean? Knights had to earn the rank and prestige of being a knight by first a long process of apprenticeship and then sometimes with valor on the battlefield. Let's learn more about how they actually trained. Medieval knights underwent a rigorous training routine from a very early age. The whole concept of apprenticeship was to prepare knights for the rest of their careers. Here are some notable points. Take a moment to imagine what it took to wield the lance while riding a horse at top speed. You need to harness the power and momentum of the horse straight into the tip of the lance and direct it at your target. That's real strength, balance, and coordination. In terms of physical development, there is a noted quotation from the Secreta Secretorium, which is a great name by the way, describing that a knightly body has thickness of the shoulders and of the back, with a broad chest that showeth worthiness and hardiness. A strong back, popping pecs, and bolder shoulders? Were knights low-key bodybuilders? My only question would be, how would they fit in the Speedos with, the armor? Logistically, it's a nightmare. Balsecot, a famed French military leader, traveled from Prussia to the Ottoman Empire and fought in many of the conflicts that defined medieval European history. And he had a workout routine that he devised to make himself more effective in battle. He insisted on doing all of his exercises, including vaulting onto a horse, performing somersaults, climbing walls, and running at long distances while wearing what he would wear in battle. We call that specificity. He spent long periods striking with his fist or with a hammer to build his arm muscles. He practiced using his weapons with an extra heavy set, like baseball batters using weighted rings on their bats before stepping up to the plate. Very specific everything he's doing thus far. In modern day terms, that might look like wearing a weighted belt or vest in your workout. So you're making it more difficult if you do body weight plyometrics, chin-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, wearing a weighted vest. He once even scaled a ladder while wearing his 60-pound suit of armor, using only his hands without his feet to support him. Think about that once again. No legs to support him on the climb. That's kind of like just a weighted pull-up. Balsicot's fitness routine was all about endurance and stamina, ensuring that he'd be fit to withstand whatever might come his way in battle. And I'll just say, I put on a little chainmail behind the scenes here, preparing for something, and it's a lot heavier, more unseemly than you'd realize, just sweating up a storm. So the idea of preparing via endurance and being specific makes a ton of sense. What I really like about the medieval knight training was the clear intent behind every single aspect of it. It was developed to try and produce the most effective warrior. In the same way within the gym, when it comes to training, you want to smartly organize all of your exercises to achieve your very specific goals. You don't want to be going all over different rep ranges, different weights, bouncing between programs. When you have a specific goal, you need to have a very organized, well-organized routine. And one of the easiest ways to achieve this is by a concept we call progressive overload, which is the gradual addition of more challenges to perturb your body to change. You can't just keep doing the exact same thing every single session. Fortunately, we got an expert on this topic to discuss it today. Joining me is my good friend, Dr. Eric Helms, to talk about progressive overload. Eric, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Omar. Thank you. It's actually quite simple. So if you start training, and let's say you're doing something very basic, like 3 sets of 10 at a load that feels moderately challenging when you complete it, all you have to do is the next session you go in, try to add an additional repetition, or try to add, say, 5 pounds of load on the bar. And when you can't do that, simply try to do it every other session. Ultimately, as you get stronger and you get closer to your genetic ceiling of what you are capable of, it does become harder to make further progress. That's why we love to watch things like the Olympics. People achieving that height of performance is something incredibly rare, because most people, they spend a few years in the gym, they kind of plateau, and they spend most of their time just maintaining it or making very small incremental leaps in progress. But for those first couple years when you get into training, it's a wonderful time of the newbie games, as we call them, where almost every time you repeat an exercise, you're able to make some type of objective increase in one of the exercise variables. But I think that's really all you have to do. And it's what really can get you addicted to the process of lifting weights, is seeing that you can improve every single time, much like social media giving you likes, or video games giving you easy challenges to start off before you get addicted to the game and really learn it.
Hey, Eric, you're a real one. It would be hard to do an exact challenge analogous to how medieval knights trained. I mean, we don't have a 30-foot wall, do we? No, we don't. What, budget? Okay. I mean, maybe if there's a season 2. Fortunately for you, we have a fantastic exercise routine. 3 movements to mimic what medieval knights may have done in their day-to-day training, right? We're trying to take inspiration here. So the first movement is going to be a deadlift. A deadlift is a fantastic lower body movement involving the posterior chain, so your glutes, hamstrings, lower back, upper body, grip. The second movement, once again, swing implements that the medieval knights would do, swords, weapons, all those sorts of things. We got an offset overhead press with a dumbbell. And then lastly, the third movement would be weighted pull-ups, because as Balsicott said, he essentially put on chainmail and went climbing without his legs. That's a pull-up. So we're going to do that, and for our Ancient Warrior Challenge, we are trying to put on a weighted vest or something with weight on our body, and we're going for max reps. So weighted pull-up for max reps. Modern Warriors, let's get started. For this movement, we're going to do the conventional deadlift, a fantastic lower body builder. Medieval knights would have to be strong. Think about how much their armor weighed. When it comes to this movement, we want to make sure we're hinging with the hips, so athletic position, neutral back, arms straight, lock out every single repetition. And like we said, we're going a little bit heavier on this. Let's get after it. This movement is the offset overhead press. We're gonna assume a staggered athletic stance. We're gonna make sure our core is braced. Think those medieval knights, all the demands they had with overhead work, arm work, with weights, weaponry, all those sorts of things. We wanna make sure that with the dumbbells, we bring it down to around parallel and then all the way up overhead. Let's do this. This movement is the weighted pull-up. As Boucicaut said, the French medieval knight, he would use 60 pounds and climb. This simulates that. It's fantastic for the back muscles. You don't have to use this weight. I am using this weight. You can use anything at home. You can do body weight. You can use dumbbells, put it between your legs. We're gonna try for this ancient warrior challenge in order to do as many reps as possible. Let's get after it. Honestly, I lost count, almost lost consciousness, but I think it was around 10, which is a nice even number. It's not bad. Medieval knights were the apex warrior of medieval Europe. Their lengthy training, conditioning, and regular exposure to conflict would make them quite formidable. Thanks for watching. May you achieve all of your goals, and let me know in the comments section below what culture of ancient warriors you'd like to see me explore next. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you here next time on Ancient Warriors with Omar.